Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back. Another episode of Confidently Wrong. Ryan is here. Savon is here. I'm here. We're all
We're here.
here. We're all here. It's Sunday.
Here.
It's a
Thanks for
lovely
taking
sunny
attendance,
day.
Wes.
It's what?
Present.
Thanks for taking attendance. Who gets a gold star?
Gold star. Sav is in his onesie with the flap again.
It
The
doesn't
crotch
have
flap.
a flap. It's not, there's no crotch flap. It's just zipper. It's just
It's a
zips.
zipper that goes all the way down to the crotch. So
Thank you, which is different. That is not a flap.
Right down
It's
to
more
the
like a banana peel.
Literally, yes. When I take it off, it's like peeling a banana. So, audience at home, I really hope that y'all have that lovely visual of my tall, lithe body and me peeling
God.
off my onesie hoodie like a damn banana, like a peeled banana.
You got to
Who-
take that thing rock climbing. I think
Who
it would look good.
I need the
who
freedom
are
of movement.
our listeners with Photoshop skills? I need to see
Savon as a
Savannah
banana.
and a banana.
I'll be a banana next year for Halloween.
All right, so I've been sick.
I was going
Thanks
to
a
make
lot.
a banana joke about Wes. But
No, keep it moving. You were saying, Wes, you've been sick.
Intrusive thoughts. Did not win. All right, I'm excited. Let's go. We're talking about True Detective season
Yes.
4. Sorry to all the people out there that we did not tell you this was coming. It's kind of a little bit adjacent to our typical wheelhouse Marvel action discussions, but
Brian finessed us.
he really did. We'll
Got
talk about
him.
that in a bit.
Hell out of us.
We feel duped, me and Sav, a little bit. We feel a little what is it called? Like shamboozled? Bamboozled? Yeah.
Shamboozled. I was like bamboozled with a ShamWow.
Right?
You got waxed.
We'll talk about that, but
Slap
we're
chop.
a little salty. But maybe it's for the best because the show so far, it's had 2 episodes on Max on HBO, has been pretty good. I think me and Savon have both been enjoying it despite being bamboozled into watching it.
Who
So
doesn't
this is
want to
season,
watch crime drama with detectives on the case? Come
you
on.
know,
I never watch crime drama stuff. If I
I've
want to
been
see
watching-
crime, I can just live life.
we've been
Grand Theft Auto
watching Slow Horses, and it's also kind of a crime-ish drama, but more action. Maybe I'll talk about that on our next What We're Loving. I think I got some things to say.
Put a pin in that.
All right. All right, so let's do it. This is season 4. It's not connected necessarily to previous seasons, so you can actually just jump in with us and watch it. Brian was like, you don't have to have watched season 1 through 3 because me and Sav haven't. And it turns out he's right.
Apologies.
We're a brand new case, brand new detectives. Like, you don't really need to know backstory. You want to know backstory, but that's not something you would have gotten from seeing the previous series. So, Brian, what kind of ties all these together, though? So, like, what makes this a true detective show? Because I can't really tell. To me, it seems like a detective show. Is that the only thing, or is there like a certain feel we're getting from all 4 of them?
Yeah.
What's
It's
the
a detective,
true detective
show.
thing?
It's an HBO detective show. I think that also adds a little to it. And like you said, it's an anthology series, so every season is standalone, new detectives, new case every season. And and you said, like, you guys didn't watch seasons 1 through 3 and you're worried about jumping onto season 4. Honestly, I think most people that are watching season 4 probably have not watched seasons 1 through 3. I don't think anybody has watched seasons 1 through 3 because season 1 was amazing. Season 2 was unwatchable. And season 3 was like sort of coming back, and it had Mahershala Ali as the detective, and I think it kind of flew under the radar. And the feeling that I've gotten with season 4, with its lead Jodie Foster, Silence of the Lambs fame, Jodie Foster coming in as the
Yeah.
detective and kind of having some of the same vibes as FBI agent Clarice Starling, has really garnered more attention for this new season. But what ties them all together is how they're structured, right? So usually it's it's a detective and their partner who they have some sort of, they have like a little bit of bristling between them, right?
They don't see
And
eye to eye.
yeah. They're oil and water usually, and then the detectives or the case that they're working on is usually a case that happened long ago, right? And they're revisiting that case, right?
Hmm.
So in season one, that really set the playbook for True Detective. In season one, it's Matthew McConaughey, and this was the thing that really brought about the McConaissance, right? When Matthew McConaughey
The
started not doing
McConaissance.
rom-coms. So he's and also those terrible Lincoln car commercials. It's definitely a direct rip of True Detective, because in that season, he's like this grizzled old, like, southern kind of hillbilly detective, right, with like a long gray ponytail, being interrogated about his old case from when he was younger. Um, and that's when him and Woody Harrelson are investigating, I believe it was a sex cult, uh, led by the Yellow King. And for people who are into kind of Cthulhu stuff, yeah, the Yellow King, has some resonance. And so part of it, right, is this time gap, right? The detectives looking backwards, and then also this faintly scary supernatural element that's going on in the case that they're investigating. But in season one of True Detective, they never tell you that like it is supernatural or anything like that. It's just a cult, right? Like, people are doing some creepy stuff because they're in a cult. And you don't really know why. But this happened so long ago that I don't even fully remember how that all wrapped up. But the really enduring part about it is Matthew McConaughey riding around in like a squad car saying like some nonsensical, like pseudo philosophical stuff, like,
Oh, Kyrie
Weird
Irving.
shit. Weird
yeah,
shit.
like,
As,
time
Woody
is a
Harrelson's
flat
character.
circle. Like,
I don't. I don't
nothing is better
dream.
than riding a Lincoln. So that is sort of the ethos of the series.
Huh.
And then so we jump to season 4, right? New detectives, Jodie Foster in Alaska, like the edge of the earth, or they're like on the edge of the Arctic Circle. It's perpetual night in December during this time period. And we have some similar elements, but this particular season, I believe, is maybe the first one that is not written by the guy that created True Detective. It's been taken over completely by a different writer director. Maybe one of you has her name handy.
Issa
Um,
Lopez.
Issa Lopez, yes, who's I believe she's Mexican. And
She is.
and so she has taken the format and formula of True Detective and made it into something of her own, at least as far as I can tell.
All right. And we're only going to get 6 episodes for this season. So we're done with 2, more to come. In fact, we're recording on a Sunday, so we'll get another episode tonight.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
I'm so excited.
All right. Do you want to talk about that now? About how Brian duped us?
Yeah, so we'll keep it short so we can get into the questions. But anyone who knows us know that
This
me and Wes,
motherfucker.
we do not like suspense, horror, that type of thing. I wouldn't say that this is a horror show. I think that's a bit extreme. But it definitely has some suspenseful, freaky elements more than what you might expect from a detective show. And that definitely caught me off guard in terms of like, hold on. What should I be worried about in this show? Is it just like the depravity of man and things that regular folks do, or is it something higher? I don't know. But when I established that, I was like, oh, okay, so it's one of them kind of shows. Cool. Thanks, Brian. It's freaking me out. This is nightmare fuel. I am also hooked.
I mean,
You
if
babies.
you've played,
So damn good.
if you've
Babies.
played The Last of
Yes,
Us,
I'm a baby. I've admitted I'm a weenie. I've on the record. The Last of Us was great. That's why I didn't play Last of Us. I had to watch it like a movie because it's good, but that shit is stressful. If I wanted to
Oh
be
man.
stressed, I just live life.
There's a there's a scene or a level in The Last of Us where you're in like the basement of a hospital and you're walking through and some of the lights are on, but some of the lights aren't on in some of the further reaches that you like can't really see, but there's like red lights flashing and stuff, and you're like, actually this probably happened several times. There's a couple of levels like this, and that's the feeling that you kind of get in this because there's like a research station in the beginning and the lights are like going out and then like some static happens and then some dude says some freaky shit and
while he's
has
convulsing.
convulsions. Yeah. So there's definitely a moment of like, oh, what am I watching? Like, Brian, what did you do to this? And immediately I was like, Brian, are you making me watch a horror right now? Like, this is fuck you. But
I want to
I don't think,
invade your dreams.
yeah,
Bamboozled.
I really feel like he like really tricked us, and it was too late because we're like 2 days out away from the recording the show. We couldn't bully Brian into changing what we were gonna watch, so
That's
we were
like
just
Thursday
captive.
saying, "Hey, y'all should watch this new True Detective." All right, cool. I watched it this weekend.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm like, it's Saturday night. Oh well, damn. I don't have a time. I can't renege now. But like I said, more importantly, it's good.
yeah. It is
There
good.
you go. There you go. I want
So-
thank yous.
So let's talk. So let's talk about this question about the Alaskan town on 2 West. Come on, host
All
us
right.
up.
All right, so so we got like tons of suspenseful like twists. There's turns. We got 2-ish detectives, kind of 3, working together. Obviously, the sort of senior level detective is Jodie Foster, who plays Danvers, which I don't know if she's related to the MCU in some way here, but maybe there's a connection. We don't
There's a
know.
whole family of,
Yeah.
of do-gooding Danvers
Moving
out there.
on.
And then we have
This
Evangeline.
guy.
They call her Angie, who is this detective that obviously in the past got demoted, and has had some sort of beef with Jodie Foster's detective. So there's something going on there. What have you been liking about the setting and these characters, Brian? What's standing out to you? Settings and characters.
Well, I think just stepping back a moment, we should say what the central mystery of this season of True Detective
True.
is.
None
the
of this
fact
is
that
spoilers so far.
there's this research station, right? As we said, at the edge of the Arctic Circle, near the last town in Alaska or whatever. And these guys who are they're like coring the Earth or something like that, and doing some geological, I think, carbon dating research or something like that.
Weird science shit.
They do weird science, and it's clear that they are
Not once do they say carbon dating in this show, by the way.
I think maybe the geology teacher. Who
Brian
knows?
just pulled
I'm
out-
inferring.
Just pulled out some
nitpicking.
science you
They're
remembered.
doing
That's-
science stuff.
That's the only science I know. Okay, so can I use it, please? I was either gonna go with that or photosynthesis. So anyway, so these guys are kind of isolated in that research station, and then when a delivery guy comes later on to drop off their rations for the next couple weeks or whatever, he finds out that they're all missing, and they just up and vanished, right? And nobody knows where they are, where they've gone.
They didn't pack. They left their cell phones behind.
They left their cell phones behind. There's like a sandwich on the counter, and so that's when Carol Danvers gets called in. Not Carol Danvers. That's when Jodie Foster's Agent Danvers, who I believe she's the chief of police at this tiny Alaskan town called Ennis, Alaska. That's when she gets called in to investigate. And the mystery and the sleuthing begins, right? So I think what's really great about this show, right, is not just that they're trying to solve this case, right? It's not just about the whodunit aspect of it, but it's also about the 2 detectives at its core. And it's these 2 women. It's Danvers and it's Navarro. And we know that Danvers, she's a chief of police. She's surrounded by all these other dudes, some of whom don't really like her, and
Nobody likes her.
Yeah, they're trying to like get in her way. And then you have you have Navarro, who's been demoted by Danvers, right? Pushed to the state troopers out and no longer part of the local police department. Who herself, she seems like a very earnest person, and she's also on kind of a mission that leaves other people not liking her, right? It's very clear early on in the series that she goes in to investigate, well, I guess was basically a domestic violence altercation, but that happens in a workplace setting, and she takes the side of the victim, right? And puts the dude in cuffs, slams his face to the floor, right? So she is very much about uh you know uplifting women and making sure that they're protective. And later on in the episode, she even she pours like Bailey's in the guy's truck
Yeah,
just
and
to
his,
get one more over him.
yeah, because she sees him walking down the street talking mess.
Yeah, so both of these characters, to me, a big thing that has jumped out to me is that both of these characters are women kind of at odds with their surroundings, but they take a lot of control where they can and however they can, to great effect. And even in the bedroom, like these women are in control,
Pushing
and
P.
so it's fun seeing them kind of go out on this mystery, and then they're sort of forced to come together to work together again to really solve it, right? And both coming with kind of like their own motivations behind it. And it's just great seeing that dynamic in play, and really setting this season apart from past True Detectives, which I think a lot of critics have said is like hyper male, right? Matthew McConaughey, male. So this is really flipping all of that. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to see where they go with it, especially because Jodie Foster is such a force. And
She's really
it's
good
great
in
to
the
see
show.
her in this vehicle.
Well, and in some ways though, they're bringing a ton of masculine energy, right? Like in that scene in the workplace, the larger dude that kind of attacked this woman in the workplace or started to harass her or something, he kind of charges at her to like talk to her, and as he starts to go by
I don't know about talk.
Navarro,
I don't know if talk to her is the word.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what he was trying to
I
do,
don't
but
think he wanted to talk.
she wasn't. He kind of like tried to brush past Navarro to get at the other woman, and as soon as he did, Navarro they kind of quick action cut to her feet, and she somehow disables his leg. Like she kind of does like a kick to the knee, and then leg locks him, and then flips him over and cuffs him like right away. I mean, it was like just a quick like boom, and then Sav just let us know, or Brian and Sav let me know before we started recording that she's actually, you said she's an MMA fighter.
She's a boxer.
She's a boxer. She's a kickboxer. So they're bringing some of her physicality and skills from that into the show, which is kind of cool. So
Has had multiple titles,
like
very successful.
yeah, and they highlight like her muscles at some point. She's like shirtless, or she's just got like a bra on or something like that, and you can see like she's just got giant arms. She wants to.
Lifts,
yeah,
dog.
she's definitely been lifting in the weight room.
She's ready to brawl for sure.
Yeah, so which is cool, right? Because I mean, you're in a very physical job, or it can be a physical job, and you want to know, like, hey, is your detective believable, or is your cop believable? And she can clearly handle herself here in a physical way. Jodie Foster doesn't bring that kind of physicality, but she's more kind of administration, right? She's the chief, she's the detective. She's not having to use her physical skills to subdue, a suspect or anything here.
Yeah,
she's using her noggin.
Skills.
She's using her noggin.
My son has an aura. Like all of us, Danvers has an aura where I'm like, oh man, if she said jump, I'd probably be like, ha ha, coach, because I'm just scared of her.
Yeah,
the lady's terrifying.
Yeah, she bullies a junior detective into like not hanging out, not like taking care of his son, into like
she's toxic.
Yeah, she
so
wants everything to be about work.
Yeah, so which we talk about impressions. Yeah, like honestly, her character is immediately my favorite character, not because she's likable or anything, but because she's just so multifaceted. Like she is extremely good at her job. Danvers, extremely competent. even just the entire bits in the show where he says you're not asking the right question. I'm like, oh, so this is her thought process. I'm like, oh, she's like, as a viewer, they do a great job of showing her, like narrating, kind of showing what her thought process is actually doing police work. And she is like a textbook case of, you might not like her. She might be mean. She might be condescending. She might say some microaggression type stuff and problematic stuff and all this shit. But damn, she is good at what she does. Like, prodigiously good. And watching her be good at her job and then be awful at she is as good as her job as she is bad with interacting with regular people, which is to say she is really good at her job because she has the people skills of like a wet onion, dude. It's
I think we
bad.
can do spoilers. Because actually, I don't know if I agree. Yet? Like, what is sticking out to you as like, oh, she's really good at her job? Because like, so far,
Oh, the question scene
seems
is like
like-
the
Yeah,
best
the scene with her and Pryor are like, you're not asking the right like every time. First of all, there was the whole scene where she literally goes through all the evidence and goes through all the pictures, and she makes the connection between Clark and the jacket that Annie K had. Like, that's just straight up putting the piece of puzzles together. Then following up with Navarro, knowing that she has knowledge of the case. The scene where she's with Pryor and they're saying, okay, why did we find these researchers naked out in the frozen waste with their clothes neatly folded and they left everything behind? And even during that scene where they're doing a back and forth because she's telling him to ask questions and he's like, nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. And when they land on the conclusion of what could make these researchers so scared that they run out into the frozen wasteland and drop everything they're doing, like you have one sock on and F it, you're just running out. And when they kind of landed on that conclusion, I'm like, as the viewer, I was visibly kind of freaked out, like, dang, I haven't been asking the right questions to myself. Like, all of her best scenes are her, at the crime scene when she's talking about just little things, right? Like, hey, this is the best way to get the ice off. Hey, make a little air pocket so you can scrape the ice off. Hey, tighten up on your professionalism. Hey, knowing the manual so that she could finesse her supervisor to not have to bring the bodies to Anchorage. Like, every scene she does an amazing job of just knowing what she can and can't do and knowing she's just done all of her homework. Like, she has a great degree of knowledge of just general stuff, like the scene where, oh, why did they leave the research station? Oh, the wet laundry has been here. It's wet, but it stinks. That takes about 2 days. Hey, lunch meat doesn't get spoiled the same way processed meat as mayonnaise does. That means that this happened within 48 hours. Like, in her first scene, she immediately starts just picking up and putting things together instantly. Hey, this guy's the Russian scientist because he has the rings on his left hand, and that's the thing in Russian culture, what rings they wear their hands
Right
on.
hand, yeah.
Like, every single right hand, but every single scene when it comes to the police work stuff, she is immediately the smartest, most competent person in the room. When everybody else is dicking around with the frozen bodies, she shuts that down and is like, hey, yo, like, we're working right now. Like, it's, even when they find the tongue, oh, these lines on the tongue are because of a repetitive nature from someone who's almost certainly an indigenous woman because of a certain part of their culture and work that would lead to this. Like, this is just off the top of my head, but every time she does police work stuff, she is in her bag and like is believably moving the plot forward. And it tracks that she's so good at her job because on the inverse, she's so awful at her relationships. So damn right she's good at her job. You can see why she's good, because she doesn't care about anything else. But it's so fun to watch on screen.
It almost seems like she's the big city detective that had her own show, or maybe she was star FBI agent Clarice Sterling,
Ooh.
who then got demoted and got sent to the most remote part of the country at this tiny town, and she's just a shark in a fish pond, basically.
Maybe we're gonna find out the big twist in episode 6, Brian. It could be. This is actually the Silence
Hannibal
of the Lambs
Lecter is gonna show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the tundra.
What?
Now I know why they were scared.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, brains.
Nice. The only thing I want to talk about for setting was they're making such like clear use of the town and like the darkness as like its own character. Like, there's a lot of shots where you're outside and just like headlights are shining on something, or you're inside but some of the lights are not working, right? And so there's a lot of this like what's around the corner, what's coming, and it's not in necessarily like a oh we're gonna jump scare you type of way. It's just in a like ooh like something is going on here. And the people make reference to the town of Ennis as like having some kind of connection to like a spiritual world, or there's just unexplained things that happen in this place, and so it really like primes you
Mhm.
as the viewer to be ready to kind of accept the the supernatural that's going on here. Like there's someone who shows up as a ghost, and kind of helps move helps shine a light on something, or helps give us a next piece of a puzzle,
Mhm.
which like if you're thinking about it from like a writing in like a on paper perspective, like someone told you like hey the ghost is going to show up and tell you where to find the next clue, you'd be like is that really part of the detective show? But
What is this? A Christmas
They
Carol?
they do
yeah,
do sell you with the tone, and like they do a bunch of little things
yeah,
to kind of make that fit into. It felt believable. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I can see what they're doing in just tone and stuff to make this feel like a natural fit rather than a hey, where the hell did this come from? Although it does kind of feel that way. But like, I think I agree in that it's actually pretty well done, because I think if
yeah.
you fumble that, you lose the whole show.
Right. So lots of stuff going on there, and then we're just not sure about. There's like a symbol that's kind of being made a big deal about. We're not sure where that's coming from or why that's there, but we're being told that it's old, that it predates maybe like the current people that live in this town. And then the other thing is that's like interesting about this show that I think it like connects it to other things that we've been watching lately is that they're highlighting.
Ooh, West muted.
How much did you hear or not hear of that?
Right when you started your spiel, you
Oh,
mute.
great. So something that was like interesting I think is like there's a connection here to stuff we've been watching like Echo and What If, is that it's another series that focuses or that pulls in culture and relevance from indigenous culture. So out here
Mhm.
in Alaska, they're I'm not sure what people are there. They're just kind of referencing them generally as like indigenous or native. Um, but they're using like sort of an authentic feeling influence there that's really cool, and we're just like I don't know much about like native culture, I don't know much about indigenous culture. The show is not trying to teach you about those things necessarily, but it is trying to expose you to them in kind of a just like everyday kind of way.
Mhm.
But not ignore the fact that like there's white people in this show, or that there's white people in this town, and they're all kind of all over the place, right? They're not, some people are like minors, some people are not minors, and there isn't this big delineation between native and non-native folks. There's just like part of the fabric there, and how people get along. And so I think it's just cool that like this is now the third show in a row that I've watched that, or not in a row, but third show that I've watched this in the past month that have brought in different elements of native culture. And so and it feels like they're doing it really respectfully. Like all these shows have been really good about like incorporating it into the show, and not just making it like, well, we're just doing this because like it's a native story, or we're just doing this to like check boxes, as much as Brian kind of talked about that in our last episode. So I don't know, I think it's cool that we're like getting exposed to that stuff in popular culture and in popular media.
I think in this particular show, it adds a level of conflict, which I think really helps. It makes Danvers much more textured because she's got a native daughter. I guess it's probably like a stepdaughter. And then
Yes,
and
the impression
and,
I
and
got.
she doesn't want her daughter practicing some of the common practices of that native community. She gets very mad when her daughter comes home with marks drawn on her face that are reflective of her native culture and ancestry. because she worries of what that's going to do to her daughter's career prospects. And so that, that kind of conflict makes Danvers more unlikable, but gives her some depth as a parent. And then because Navarro is also native, right? Like there's that tension there of whether or not Danvers is trying to hold one over Navarro, because of some sort of like colonial mentality, or is it more just about the job, like, or is it more because they're two women amongst a sea of men? It's probably all of these things, and I think that makes the dynamics of the show so much more scintillating.
Yeah, well, they open up a door, right? At the very end of the second episode, Danvers is in Navarro's home and she knows where to put things. And so there's some sort of actually like intimate history between these two in some way, where maybe they were roommates, maybe they were lovers, maybe like we don't know.
They worked on the previous case together. That's what it was. The previous case with the Annie K, that was one that when Danvers first, they talked about it in the first episode. When Danvers first got hired, they worked on the case and worked on it closely. So that was how they got to know each other very well. And like including them, like, and that's when Danvers realized, oh, Navarro, you're actually like obsessed and throw it off on this case because you convinced me to reopen it. Cool, I'm not working with you again because you tripping. Like that, just to be clear, like that's why she was at the place and knew where to put stuff, because they had worked together closely in the past and had a falling out because they're both just very stubborn people.
Well, yeah, but I don't. Well, yes, but I mean, I've worked with you a lot and I've worked with Brian a lot. I still wouldn't know where to put the canned goods in Brian's house when I went to his house. Like,
Wes, we haven't worked in person together for months at a time.
That doesn't mean that I've worked with my coworkers at school and I've been to some of their houses. Maybe, well, I haven't, but we've been to people's houses. I don't know where to put the canned goods. It's like I know where to put things at my parents' house.
Brian, help me out.
But I don't know.
I know where I put your wristwatch, Wes. I know that.
So there's just another layer of intimacy here that we're like, oh, these guys do have a familiarity that really makes that split that they've had more important, right? We do need to know more about like why they're so at odds. And you were saying, Sav, that, and I missed this.
They say it why
that she fired her because she was so obsessed with it, but it also felt like there was something else like pressuring them to like that Navarro politically ran into trouble. And so it maybe wasn't 100% Jodie Foster kicking her out of the force of the case or whatever.
It was all of that. It was she let the case. It was like I said, she was already distraught from the case. Navarro, Foster's character Danvers comes to town like a year or so later. They work on the case. Or girl is obsessed. Navarro's obsessed. It creeps into her personal life because now she's getting into fights with people and like she's getting into out of work incidents. She's obsessed. And she starts to piss off the wrong people in the town, who are some of the main mining people who they've established that the mining folks are the real power in the town, and like to the point where
they have a lot of power.
Yeah, to the point where like they can make you disappear, and there's not room to ask questions about it. Like I actually think that part of their relationship. I mean, I'm sure there's more they could potentially uncover, but I think as of now, that's actually made pretty clear. Like why they fell out. Now it's just a matter of, all right, how y'all gonna come together with not all this new information that's coming out.
So this is like oil and oil, because Jodie Foster is also the same way.
Oh yeah,
right. They just had, it's like the same behavior, same attitude, but just taking different sides, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just
one's a pragmatist, one's an idealist,
right? And what's interesting about that Annie K case, right, is that she was a native activist actively protesting the mine, right? And gets brutally murdered, like stabbed many, many times. And then Navarro even says she was, post-mortem was like kicked multiple times. So whoever did that really hated her, right? And because she's
cut
a
out
native
her tongue.
person, they cut out her tongue. Native person, woman, right? That really upsets Navarro, and yet Danvers wanted her to drop that case, right? So you here, again, you have that thing like Danvers, white woman, part of the establishment, doesn't want Navarro angering the wrong people, but also it's kind of like, well, like why should we drop Annie K's case, right? Like why is somebody who's native who dies like that, why is she being brushed under the rug where, if she were a white dude, like everybody would be up in arms
Yeah.
at a brutal murder like that.
That's what's fun there. And the thing is, what makes it interesting is that they're both correct. Like, I think both their characters make very valid points of like, you get why Navarro's obsessed, and her following up with it like makes sense because it's a passionate thing for her. Clearly, we've noticed she has a soft spot for abused and victimized women. But then also, Danvers has a good point of like, hey, yo, you piss these people off, you are putting your life at risk, and I'm trying to protect you from yourself. Like, it's a cool. That's what makes the dynamic so good, is because
It's motherly.
neither one of them is. Now she's a dick, but she is.
She's really mean.
But she also does things, but I don't think she's cruel. And I do think that a lot of what she does is coming from a place of caring. She's just a not nice or likable person. But I don't think she just does things to be cruel for cruelty's sake. Because like I said, we find out she did investigate the hell out of the case and actually did do a lot of her due diligence. She just was, again, you have the realist and pragmatist versus the idealist, and that dynamic, which I think is the main thing that separates them, is what makes their interaction so dope, because they have so many other things in common, but this one thing of how they view the world just completely is what divides them.
Yeah, it's important that she really dug deep into that case. So she had looked at the files, she had looked at all of the evidence, she had come up with her own ideas about what had happened. But for whatever reason, we don't know exactly her thought process. She had decided that case is no longer something that they should pursue, maybe due to political pressure, maybe due to just that she's knowing that like no one's going to be able to like answer the questions that they need answered, and maybe they just didn't have enough to go on anymore. So she wasn't just totally ignoring Navarro, right? Her junior partner. So important that she's not someone who's just like, no, it's my way or the highway no matter what. She is someone who's going to like look at the evidence and figure out like what's the best course of action coming up. And when she has new evidence now at the end of season 2 or episode 2, she brings her back in and says, hey, let's reopen your case. We have more evidence. It seems like our cases are tied together. Like, despite the fact that you hate me, despite the fact that I, don't get along with you, like this seems like we just need to work together. And I'm willing to do that. This isn't bigger than that. I just want to solve this case and we can help each other get there. So interesting that she's compartmentalizing completely her personal feelings, other people's personal feelings, and it's just like, hey, if this is going to get the job done, this is what we got to do.
True.
All right, you ready? So we talked about all of this, but we haven't really talked about the actual mystery, because like, what the fuck is going on? Sav, like, I don't understand. I have no idea where the fuck this is going.
Bro, they have this weird exorcist. She's awake. Lights stop flickering. The camera cuts off. Everything's left where it was. You find a bunch of you find a bunch of frozen bodies out in the thing, but they're frozen into a big body mass of ice called, like they call it a corpsicle. But they're all also naked. But they also have a bunch of self-inflicted wounds, like they clawed out their eyes and ruptured eardrums. Like, what kind of eldritch Cthulhu madness is this? But then their clothes are neatly folded. I literally don't know, and that is what's going to have me watch this show until the end. I don't know what the hell's going on. Weird symbols, weird symbolism. I need an adult.
Is there an adult here? I'm not so sure there is.
Not anymore.
Highbrow. What have you pieced together, Detective Brian? Because I mean, I'm really not lost. I don't know where this is going. I just feel like they're just gonna be like, it's a ghost, and then we'll be done.
No. I kind of have no idea either. I mean, like, sex cult party, maybe? In the snow?
In the ice?
A lot of drugs? Is that part of it? No. I think the ghost thing is probably gonna play some part. Maybe Annie, the ghost of Annie K, summoned these men out into the snow to their own death. But then again, why would she do that? Like that doesn't make any sense either.
Yeah,
they don't know.
Responsible for her death.
Yeah,
there's a group of men in an ice popsicle. Like, how does that happen?
Ooh, well, Wes, you go. But I want to talk about I have my theories. I was really thinking all night about my theories.
I mean, I'm more just I'm along for the ride because I feel like there's obviously a lot of stuff we don't know yet. So that's part of it, right? Like there's more pieces for us to uncover. To me, none of it makes sense yet. Like she said, right? We're not asking the right questions, but we just don't have enough information yet. There's still more detective work we got to do. I just don't get how they all vanished in one moment, ended up in the middle of the ice. And then how did they get buried and all frozen together? Like were they in water, but like wouldn't the ice already be frozen? Like that part doesn't make sense to me. And then
Did it snow?
yeah, I don't know,
Is
but
that how they got
even if it snowed, you wouldn't be like you would just be in the snow. I mean, like, they could dig you out, no problem. They couldn't dig them out. They were literally like frozen together. So it somehow had melted or there was water around them or something. I don't know. So there's that I just I don't know. And then you know what's still a mystery to me? Her stepdaughter and Pryor, her junior deputy's girlfriend. I don't understand their relationship. Like what is the relationship between those two women? I kind of thought they were the same person at first, and I was like, no, they're different people. So there's
They're
something
probably
going on
like
there.
close in age, maybe, and
Nothing. It's just
then
nothing.
yeah, and then the deputy has a baby mama
Right.
who is indigenous,
Yeah.
and maybe she's got a relationship with the stepdaughter too.
Yeah, like why
it's
is she there?
unclear.
Unclear.
The stepdaughter is there because I think I interpret it as these are other indigenous peoples in the community, and this is just a 17-year-old girl who doesn't have her parental figure. She has Jodie Foster, Officer Danvers as her parental figure, and she's not somebody who's going to be able to talk to her about her culture. So I think this is just like these are other indigenous people in the community. But I think just the woman he's talking to, or the other indigenous woman who's also Pryor's baby mama, I think that's just kind of like incidental. I don't think there's like a deeper thing to that. Like,
I think there is. I don't think it's a coincidence that the daughter spends time at this other woman's house and Pryor's house, and Pryor's also her understudy.
I saw it as like these are other indigenous people that this teen who doesn't have a lot of support in her life leans into, because lots of kids like that who just got other community figures who they just relate to, and like, hey, this is somebody who, like, literally when she was getting the markings, they literally said she's 17, she just wants to learn about her culture. So to me, that made it pretty clear like what she wanted from them, what she was doing. She wants to learn about her culture and stuff because she's a teenager with an absent, distant mother figure who needs guidance and probably wants to learn about herself like that. Now, how they tie, I'm sure they'll use that to deepen the connection of how the indigenous culture plays into maybe the larger story. But I think on surface level, I think it's pretty, at least for me, it's pretty cut and dry.
But she also goes to the skating rink to hang out with Pryor and watch the bodies thaw on the ice rink. Which that, I mean, could you imagine doing that as a 17-year-old? Like, I'm just gonna look at 7 bodies thawing out here that are half mutilated.
I would want to go see it.
Maybe she was looking for the mama.
Chill.
Yeah,
maybe she might have been looking for the mama too, but
maybe. So I have no theories. So we have no theories. Oh,
I have theories. What the hell are you talking about?
All right, let's go. Theories.
I put that in the notes and everything. Hold on. I said from the bounce I had theories. I will not be silenced.
All right. Yeah, Danvers.
What the hell is this? So okay, so this is my theory.
Okay.
We know that the scientists were doing some like really, frankly, like shady science shit. When they named all of the different scientists in their jobs, first of all, they established that it was a bunch of dudes. That it was not a throwaway line. They very much made it clear this is a research station of all men. And then when they were going through each of their different fields of study, one of them, I think his name is Clark, who's like the really freaky one in all of this, who's a big suspect. He was a paleo microbiologist. When I heard paleo and microbiology, I'm like, oh, that means that they're messing with dead organisms from the past. Anyone who's watched anything science fiction knows that never works out well. Why are you trying to bring back shit that was extinct? Is dead for a reason. What the hell are you doing? So
dinosaurs.
Yeah, there was that, right? So and then they doubled down on that when Danvers talks to the history teacher and says, hey, they were trying to do like some organism that could help with cellular regeneration. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like they were definitely getting into some like flying too close to the sun science shit. We also established that Clark had a relationship with Annie K, right? And that's that whole thing. Or girl. And she got murdered. My theory is that they were dating, and they were dating for years because he bought the trailer like 7 years ago. So this is way before, like, they were dating before she got. We know she got dated before they got murdered. So this is like a long-term thing, right?
You're talking about the hookup trailer,
Yeah, the hook. Yeah.
But it's like freaky.
the conjugal visit trailer.
Yeah, the booty trailer. So he has the golden
The
eagle,
booty
all that stuff. That's what they do. Anything. All right, cool. She gets murdered. My theory is that, oh boy, either that drove him insane, or maybe there was something else driving him insane because he had the shrine and the thing with all that stuff. But I think they did something with her body post-mortem, because in the opening scene, we hear them say she's awake. There are no other women in the research station. It's only dudes. So just having a line saying she's awake and the way they freaked out implies that there was a test subject or something. The only one that will make sense is her, because she's this dead woman. She has a connection to one of the scientists, including the tattoos, the shrine, all that. We know that they're experimenting on cellular regeneration. Her tongue was found there, and there was a line they said about having some weird cellular damage. Like, to me, they were doing some real freaky, weird science Frankenstein shit with her corpse that probably tied to their cellular regeneration work that they were doing with the thing they were trying to resurrect. Now, how it all went sideways, the self-inflicted marks, all of that part is harder for me to piece together. But I think Clark must have been driven insane either internally or externally, tried to do something to help resurrect her or bring her back. They were all operating on her body doing science shit, and then it all went wrong. Because again, we know that they had the line of what could have scared them so much that they ran out into the cold with whatever they had on, including if it was just a sock, it was a sock. To me, a body y'all are doing weird science shit on coming awake sounds like the perfect thing that will make me drop everything and run out, not even put my shoes on. There's still other stuff I'm trying to figure out and piece together, but like that's my broad stroke of what I think has happened.
He solved the case, everyone.
I did not solve the
Give
case.
it up.
Also, I think the folded clothes, the cleaning people have to be tied to that somehow. I'm just not sure.
Right, because we know that they hire some of the native women in the community to go over to the research station and clean house every couple weeks or something like that.
Yeah, a couple times a month. They say twice a month.
So I love that theory. I think Saban has cracked the case. Maybe not like fully cracked it open, but he's made some like little cracks in the ice here. It made me think, or it made me remember actually, that Clark, Annie K's lover from the research station, by the end of episode 2, he is not part of the ice pile, right? We know that he's actually missing. He's on the lam. So I do think that he is probably trying to resurrect Annie K, right? Maybe he's the one that had her tongue the whole time. Like maybe he, in fact, cut it off because, you know, he was also, by the state of their hookup trailer, you can tell like they're getting into some witchcraft voodoo stuff in there, or maybe he did after she died. And so maybe he's the one that grabbed that tongue, right, to have something of her body, because maybe he has researched some supernatural things to resurrect his dead lover, right? Like maybe it's not even maybe it's not the scientific cell regeneration thing. Maybe he's just trying to do it through the occult. And because of that, maybe it makes him crazy, and that he's the one that scares everybody else in the research station because he's trying to sacrifice them as part of this, you know, this way to reanimate his dead lover. And so he's the one that puts them into the ice, and now he's on the land. So that's another way it could go about. Who knows?
That doesn't explain like why. I still don't buy the explanation that they're biting their own fingers because they're delirious.
Well, I mean, there's more we don't. Something. I mean, there's more we don't know that we got to figure out. But I think this is like just what with information we have now. There's still 4 more episodes of bombshell stuff that we need to figure out. We're gonna find out about. So like, there's more clues to figure out. But like, I feel pretty strongly about they were experimenting. The she's awake in a research facility of all men, and the only woman who had a connection was the murdered lover of one of the scientists. There's just no way that they weren't experimenting on her body with the cellular regeneration. Like, I will die on that hill. The rest of the stuff, it could go any way because we don't have all the facts, but like, I'm willing to, like, I'll bet y'all $10 that that's the case, or that's tied into it somehow.
Yikes.
I'll bet y'all 10 pennies.
All right, 10
I don't
pennies, you
know.
heard it. 20-cent bet, the confidently wrong boys. Brian versus Savon.
Let's see.
I like the
gotta save up.
theory. I like the theory. I don't think that they're experimenting on her body, but maybe it's all the stuff you've laid out. I've been like, yep,
Well,
that
you're
makes
too
sense.
scared to
that
have an
makes
opinion.
sense.
You're the guy who doesn't want to have an opinion because you don't want to be wrong, but you just don't contribute.
It's possible. I just don't know. I have no ideas about like where this could go. This all has me stumped like a fucking tree. All right, so let's lighten it up a little bit because a pile of bodies, a corpsicle, as you called it. One of the maybe worst things you could stumble across in the dead of night, in the middle of like an ice ocean or ice, I don't know, clearing. What would be like the best thing that you could find in the middle of the ice? Brian, what would you be looking for? You're like, yay!
Like I don't want to find like 7 mutilated men naked in the ice, but I would
6. It's now 6.
6. I don't want to find 6.
I don't want to find
I would, however, love to find 7. No. I would love if I were like in a parka in Alaska and just like trudging through the snow and then see like maybe like a little sharp ivory tip pointing out of the snow, and then you dig further and then like, oh my god, it's a tusk, and then you dig further and like, oh my god, it's a trunk, and it's not even just any trunk, but it's a hairy trunk, and then dig further with a crane, and oh my god, it's a full woolly mammoth in all its might and glory, fully intact with its fur. And like, come on, wouldn't that be incredible? From the Ice Age. Who's the voice of the woolly mammoth from Ice Age? Like, and maybe he's alive.
Ray Romano?
That would be incredible.
Was it Ray Romano?
Oh no, Ray Romano.
I think it was Ray Romano.
Ray Romano was one of the characters. I don't know which one.
I know John Leguizamo was like the sidekick, right?
Oh, like the squirrel guy with the eyes.
Yeah, with the bug eyes. Maybe it's the two of them together in the ice.
A woolly mammoth would be cool. I don't know. What would you do with it though? Are you just gonna? It's for science. Take pictures. That's it.
I mean,
you're just taking
you
a selfie?
have a good furry pal. Like,
is it alive?
What would it be bad about that?
Is it alive?
Yeah, because it's in the ice.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's alive. Oh, that would be cool.
Maybe that doesn't make any sense, but
I was thinking
whatever.
you just found the fossil of the woolly mammoth, and you were like, okay, great.
I think no, intact. I'm saying intact.
Okay, it's alive.
Not just the bones.
It's ready to rumble.
Or at least it's ready to hug.
Be put in a museum. Wait, but it's alive. That's just clarifying.
Let's say it's alive.
Okay,
it's a living woolly mammoth in the ice.
Now I'm on board.
Final answer.
As long as it's alive. If it was dead, you could go to the museum.
Well, do they have like a full set of woolly mammoth bones already?
They just recreate
probably.
Probably not the same quality.
Yeah, no. All right, Sav, what are you finding in the ice where you're like, man, this is awesome?
I think one of y'all said it. Captain Carter. You heard me? What? Haley Atwell, actress.
Agent Carter in the ice.
Agent Carter in the ice, and Look, I'm cool with the buff super soldier version of Captain Carter, Haley Atwell, regular Haley Atwell, the one in the first one, the one when she's older in Ant-Man. I don't give a diggity damn. Haley, let me take you out for tea.
You look cold, Haley. Let me give you a onesie.
Yeah, look, if I found her frozen in the ice with a badass shield and her Captain Britain outfit and all that, I'm like, shit, hold on, maybe I do have some lingering loyalties to the monarchy. About to be an expat, you dig? This
guy's about to bend both knees.
About to give up my U.S. citizenship or get some dual citizenship. I'm used to the good New Orleans cooking, but I'll put it with British food. I'll eat some beans for you, baby.
Some mashy peas.
All right, well that is appropriate. Valentine's Day is coming up soon. Shoot your shot. Haley Atwell, if you hear this, holler at our voice of on. All right,
What
that's
about you,
funny
Wes?
because we kind of had the same through line. I was thinking the same thing. Like, what do you find in the middle of the frozen ice besides, Captain
I
America or
copied your
Captain
answer. You know that,
Carter?
right?
That's fine. That's fine. We're on the same wavelength
No,
here.
no,
We're
we're not.
fine.
I saw your answer and said, "Ooh, I like that. That's my answer."
Oh, lovely,
I
lovely.
was looking
So,
Copy.
over. I was looking at West Paper. Said, "Ooh, ooh."
oh, this was high school again, huh? Like, oh, what's he got on that one? D?
Again,
D?
I was the one people wanted to cheat off of. To be clear,
I'm sure all three of us were. So, I would love to find Captain America in there, but maybe he's already found. Or maybe Captain Carter's already found in this multiverse. So I was thinking the other day, someone was telling me how much money you could make if you have just literally one sushi grade tuna, like a bluefin tuna. Just that like 200-pound monster. Millions of dollars for like
For
one
one?
tuna. I'm pretty sure. Maybe it's hundreds of thousands. It's a lot. So if I'm gonna find anything in this ice, I want a well-preserved, fresh tuna that just somehow got stuck there, and I'm gonna take it to the market and sell it to all the sushi chefs across America. Overnight ship it to them, and I'm gonna make my hundreds of thousands off this one fish. So that's what I'm going with. Right there in the ice, I want a nice, fresh, frozen sushi tuna. No, I don't want a prehistoric tuna. I want like it just died, it's in the ice, and it's ready to ship. Like we're gonna cut this guy up here.
Dude, when I saw your answer, I thought you were like going for the culinariness of the tuna, but you're just out here for the money. Like you're just like Steve Buscemi in Fargo, like finding the briefcase of cash. That's it.
I just got dollar signs up here. Well, okay, so
Times are hard in
I was
Texas.
telling Jen that I would love to get these new speakers for our home theater setup yesterday. But I was telling her the downsides, which is mainly that it's expensive. They're like $450 each, and I want two. And then they're kind of large, so they take up some space, and they got some of the downsides. But mostly it's just the cost of it. And it was like, oh, this would be like $900 for a pair. So if I could sell the sushi, then I think I could sell it to her. Like, hey, we got the money. Like, let's just go ahead and get these speakers.
Let's buy all speakers. $1 million worth of speakers.
That would be awesome. I would do that. Like have your own like concert setup in your house. Yes.
You
Yes,
could be
please.
like those old Sony commercials with like the guy in the armchair.
Oh,
and-
Maxwell,
Oh, Maxwell. That's what
Yeah.
it was.
for sure. All right.
You gotta grow your hair just for that.
So we got Captain Carter, sushi. Well, really, it's just Haley Atwell, sushi grade
I've-
tuna, and a woolly mammoth. All right. And earlier, Sav, you called it a corpsicle, and just kind of out of curiosity, for no reason whatsoever, what is your best flavor or like favorite flavor of popsicle?
strawberry.
Mm.
Simple, to the point, not too wild, consistent.
Do you want chunks of strawberry in there, or
No,
you mean
no. Any
Oh.
fruit popsicle thing,
Yeah.
I never want fruit chunks. It's a
just
texture
want
nightmare.
totally artificial?
You just want
Ye-
natural flavor popsicle.
you want yellow box?
Sure. I don't like fruit chunks in my shit, period. It's a texture nightmare. If I wanted a fruit, I'd eat a fruit.
You want the lifesaver pops.
Okay.
That's what you're
Yeah.
after.
Some frozen fruit juice without the actual fruit chunks. That should be pureed into the actual, product I'm having, not just
No,
chunks
it's just
of it in
fake
some
flavors,
juice.
man. There's no natural flavors going on with
It's
those
the
popsicles.
Strawberry drink.
All right,
Red
Brian,
drink
favorite.
popsicle. I
favorite
mean, it's definitely
corpsicle-
strawberry.
Yeah?
I gotta agree with my man there. It's definitely strawberry, but with chunks. You want that fresh fruit flavor. It just gives it like that extra
Fresh.
kick.
I'm going mango. I want
Oh,
the mango
mango.
popsicle. It's so good, bro.
Don't
Holler
have
at
I
me.
had a
like that.
spicy mango pop.
Ooh,
That's
was that
very
good?
excellent.
Yeah?
Yes.
I feel like Wes
Excellent.
doesn't like spicy food.
Sometimes, but yeah, not super spicy. But that wouldn't be like spicy, like oh, it's too hot. It would just be adding that little kick at the end. I could see the vision there. I don't know. I'm a little bit skeptical of spice with fruits and things like that. Like the kids at school like to put tahini on their like fruits and stuff, and like it makes it okay. But sometimes the fruit is just really good
What, you
by
think they're
itself.
wrong?
They're
Don't
wrong.
do that. It's going to ruin your future job prospects.
Yeah,
Yikes.
really, grandma.
All right, let's cut it off there. True Detective season 4. Let us know what you guys think. where are we going with this show? I don't know. I think I'm gonna keep watching. I definitely gonna keep watching. But Brian, I kind of hate you for the opening
You're
episode being so
welcome.
scary.
You're welcome.
All right, friends, hit us up at _pod. Instagram, leave us a message in the comments. What did you think? Bye.